Pleasure Humboldt All-Axess to be joined by Dr. Mike Herbert. I still like to call you Coach. Is that okay?
Yeah, Coach. I prefer Coach. The only thing better than Coach is, Dad.
Well, I'm not going to call you Dad. Let's get that straight right now.
It's the only thing that I would rather be called.
I got to ask, because from a coaching perspective, I do think it's a sign of respect when people refer to Coach, right?
100%. I think it's probably in our field and in my line of work, I think it's probably higher than anything else. I'd rather be called Coach than Doctor, and most of the time it's sarcastically when it's Doctor, but that's nice and it's great. But yeah, Coach, you have a former player or somebody else call you Coach, it feels really good.
And the reason I know you as Coach, because when I first got started here many moons ago, you were an assistant for Tom Wood on some of his great basketball teams. Talk about that experience and how you actually got started. Humboldt got on your radar screen because obviously it eventually did lead to you becoming a dad.
Yeah, it did. Well, the crazy thing is, I came here as a camper actually when I was
Really?
8th grade or a freshman, because Steve Kinder taught at the middle school K-12 or K-8.
The Jacks camp.
Yeah, I came to Jacks camp when I was a kid and wanted to be here and thought, I'm going to come play here. Well, it wasn't good enough. I didn't get recruited. So then I wanted to coach here. So I started working camps, and sure enough, I worked enough and kind of was around long enough, and Coach Wood said, yeah, you got it. You got the GA job, and I was here from 2000 to 2002. Really good choice of years to show up. I walked in and Isaac Gilday's playing and 8 other freshmen like Austin and Freddie, and I mean, it was an incredible 2 years.
So what do you think? I mean, let's be honest, that team kind of was the ignition switch for where we are now. I mean, I always tell people, I don't know what grants or what funding. Tom Wood built Lumberjack Arena, and it was, teams like that as they outgrew the East Gym. When you came back, what's it like now to be working in this environment and what that team helped build? Obviously, there's a lot more than just that, but they were really the leaders of the pack.
Sure. It's a little overwhelming, to be honest. Like I walk over to the East Gym once in a while and kind of just sit there and look around and remember what it was like in there. And, the feel in here, it's a different feel, but the people are the same. The supporters and people that come out and watch are the same, and it's a really nice feeling. Honestly, I never thought we were going to leave where we were, but to come back here, it feels like we never left.
That's great to know.
Yeah, so I'm really excited to be back. I'm really excited that Megan is back here coaching. That is why we came back here, for her to coach softball, and I've been fortunate enough to get in the position that I'm in, and I get to be here and be at the games and be around the student athletes and our great coaches.
Well, we'll talk about Coach Correa when she's on the hot seat. For you, though, now, tell us about your official role with the university and in the athletic department.
The official title is Assistant AD for Community Partnerships and Revenue Generation. So I'm in charge of all the signs and getting companies to re-up and sell the ticket sales, season tickets, game day tickets, and then really what we're doing right now, because the season has started, is all of the community engagement stuff. Getting the high school teams and the youth teams and all the local organizations to come out and enjoy the games and meet our athletes, get some autographs and be engaged with our school and get on campus with us.
Talk about that, getting folks back out to the games, try to get that that fire reignited in the community. I mean, look, things ebb and they flow when it's not these gym. We do have more seats. I mean, I remember back in the day, people waiting overnight to get tickets, or it was the hottest ticket in town. And now as Coach Tifft and Coach Bento-Jackson got these teams on the up and up, trying to go out and sell that to the community, because I think once you get them in the door, it sells itself.
Absolutely, and that's been the piece, is like getting people here to meet the athletes and meet the coaches and get engaged with them, because we really do, being in the facility and seeing the athletes, it's really energizing, right? And this is a really good group of student athletes. They're fun to be around, they're talkative, they want to engage with the community, they play super hard, they're doing everything they can day in and day out with practices to be successful. So just encouraging people to come and get acquainted and get engaged with them.
Home games this Thursday, this Saturday, and on Saturday, I believe, Toys for Tots, which is a great event and a chance to bring Santa Claus to more homes.
That's right, and that's a really cool partnership where if you bring a toy to donate, you get general admission for free. You're in the door. If you still want to come and just bring a toy, even though you have a season ticket, great. It's you. If you want to just bring some cash, you can bring some cash and donate to Toys for Tots. Either way, Toys for Tots will be here taking donations and taking the toys.
Awesome. And then I heard a lot of great feedback. People enjoyed the 3 and 5 o'clock tip-offs. So just FYI, earlier tip-offs on the Saturday games, but should be a lot of fun, and you've got no excuse not to come down and root on the Lumberjacks.
That's right. Yeah.
Coach Herbert.
Yeah. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Back with more All-Axess. More Humboldt All-Axess. Pleasure to be joined by head basketball coach of the Cal Poly Humboldt Lumberjacks, Coach Chris Tifft. Coach, look, I know you and Coach Billups and the team probably disappointed after the Chico loss. It's been a few days now. The dust has settled. Your thoughts?
Devastated. Disappointed. Yeah, it's a tough loss. I mean, I have high expectations for this team. And it kind of played out the way I was hoping it wouldn't. You know, their experience, their ability to kind of make the plays on the loose balls and the plays on the rim. And, you know, turnovers hurt us quite a bit. And it's just, with a new team that wants to play fast, we're going to have some mistakes, and we just had too many of them. So
yeah, 21 turnovers and 14 missed free throws, and I guess you could say 16 because 2 were on the front end of the 1-and-1.
Right.
Is that just the obvious, okay, this is where we faltered, or you're obviously watching the film, you know your guys, you know their guys.
Yeah.
What in the end do you think was, you know, when you go back and you play them in less than 2 weeks, let's focus on X, Y, Z?
Well, turnovers is a lot of it. I mean, turnovers that lead to points. You know, we gave up 29 points off of turnovers. And, you know, when you look at it, we hold them to 34% shooting. We score 79 points on our home floor. Usually that's a recipe for success. Yeah, we did miss a lot of free throws. They shot 41, we shot 39. 80 free throws in a game is a lot.
From where I was sitting, it was a little frustrating because I did at some point, as much as I love a good free throw, I want to watch the teams get up and down the court.
Right. So I think that speaks to the nature of the rivalry. A lot of good athletes on the floor. But, you know, just the next time we play them or our next game against any opponent, we need to take care of the ball and just make sure that we just don't give away opportunities. Told the team before the game, we have a lot of firepower. We're too good offensively to give up or give away possessions, and that's exactly what we did. And credit to them. You know, they play physical, they play hard, they're in the right place, but you know, for us to have 21 turnovers is just too many.
What do the guys learn about league play that hopefully can carry over? Because not a lot of time to sulk. You got San Francisco State and East Bay. Now you lose those, then you can really be miserable. But nonetheless, 2 more games, 2 more chances, and a chance to go to 2-1.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we've learned a lot in my time here, and I think our guys are learning, is that when you get to league play, these teams are older. They just are. You know, we have 4 freshmen. You know, Chico has guys. They're 5 starters. Were all there in the program last year. San Francisco State. You know, I sat with their coach this year, earlier this year in recruiting, and he talked about how many returners they have. So, you know, you get to a place where you're playing against teams that have a lot of juniors and seniors and grad students. And I think that's been the biggest difference for us so far. But and the familiarity. People are going to spend a little bit more time in scouting and trying to get to know the opponent. So they're going to know Rob Diaz and what his tendencies are, and spend a little bit more time on out-of-bounds plays and things of that nature. So the details become very important.
Well, last year you made the comment, you said, JB, beginning of the year, I don't even know teams were scouting us, right? Like they were so worried about our travel partner. You're not going to get that luxury this year. Everyone's going to know all about the Lumberjacks before tip-off.
Yeah, you know, I was looking at stats today, and I was telling the team, you know, we're first in the conference in scoring. We're second in points allowed. Rob Diaz, for good reasons, is second in the league in field goal percentage. Calafrilo leads the conference in rebounding. Caleb LeCount, our point guard, leads the league in steals. Jamal Briscoe's third in steals. Caleb's also first in assists. So I think people are going to pay attention to us a little bit more than they did last year. And that comes with the territory. But you know, we just kind of got to get ourselves off the mat this week. I think we're a little bit down about the loss. But that's a sign of a competitive team and a team that expects to win. And that's the coaches included, right? So kind of get prepared. And it's going to be a little bit different animal tomorrow against San Francisco State, a lot of zone defense. They approach the game a little bit differently.
They kind of ugly it up traditionally.
Yeah, they're going to keep it. You know, I used to coach that way. And, so don't call it ugly. I used to coach that way.
Defense.
in the sense that they're always competitive. They keep the game within striking distance. You know, they whether the game's in the 50s or whether the game's in the 70s, they're always kind of in the mix. So, you know, they're going to switch it up between man-to-man and zone defense, so it's going to be a little bit more of a test for us in terms of our zone offense and trying to figure out how to score. We've been pretty good against man-to-man, now we got to figure out how to score against zone.
And then how much time do you take? Will you talk about East Bay before Friday morning, or is that just we're all San Francisco State and then turn the page after that one?
Yeah, you got to get prepared for the first one, and then take your chances with the second one. And you know, an old veteran coach will sneak in a few actions, shell defense and things like that, and not let the guys know. But we've really tried to focus on San Francisco State just because it's a little bit different team that we've seen so far with the zone defense and the changing of defenses.
So how do you think your guys will adjust? You're not to give away the house secrets, but you know, we're almost, beginning of December, let's call it, and it's the first time you've seen something like this.
Yeah, you know, we haven't played against much zone. Simpson, I think, ran some zone, and Western Oregon ran some zone against us for a little bit, and we shot the ball well. I wouldn't say we ran a good zone offense, but we shot the ball well.
Is that old adage still sticks? Shoot them out of the zone?
Yeah, I think so. But the biggest thing is does it take your aggressiveness away on the defensive end and the offensive end? So I've always thought of a zone defense as being something that can change the tempo of the game. A team that's really aggressive defensively, if you make them stand around on offense, maybe they're not as aggressive on defense. So we have to find a way to. For example, you know, if we don't know if they're going to be in man or zone, you start to get in the habit of walking the ball up the floor, and we can't allow that to happen. We need to push the tempo and push the pace. We can't stand around on zone offense and then not get after it on the defensive end. You know, we still need to press, we still need to pick up full court, and we still need to be aggressive. So that's going to be the biggest battle.
Coach, clearly you have a lot of depth on this team. With that said, when you've got 80 free throws, foul trouble is going to be abound. But the defense seems to definitely take a step backwards when Kyle Freelow is out of the post. What's the message to him to say, hey, we can't get in foul trouble?
Yeah, well, my message this weekend was don't foul a guy 93 feet away from the basket after you miss a shot. But Kyle's been great. You know, Kyle has a lot of toughness and gives us a presence and has a lot of energy. Obviously, he leads the league in rebounding by over 2 rebounds per game at 10.2. The average 10.2 rebounds is fantastic. So he shoots a high percentage. He's been great for us, and you know, he just has to keep himself on the floor. But you know, he plays so hard, and with a big guy, even if he's not in foul trouble with the way we're trying to play, it's kind of hard to play long stretches. So I thought Court Franklin's done a great job for us. Cam Timmons is finally kind of healthy where he can at least get on the floor. You know, hasn't played a lot of basketball up and down since February. And then Josiah Sanders also can play some 5 for us if needed. So, but yeah, he's very important to what we're doing, and he's a high character kid and competes, and you know, we just need him to be out there as much as possible.
All right, it's Toys for Tots. If people bring a toy in on Saturday, they get a free admission. You as a kid, were you, there was one particular toy that was like your go-to? Me personally, I was a Transformer guy, big Transformer. I loved the I'll never forget that one Christmas when I unwrapped Optimus Prime. It was, I mean, here we are talking about it, let's just say a lot of years later. So for me, I didn't prep you for that one. Right, so if you want to take a flyer, you know, maybe it was your red rifle or something, I don't know.
Well, G.I. Joe was a big one.
Okay.
I would say Legos is a big one. And pass that on to my dog.
Well, you were an engineer by trade, or weren't you at some point an engineer?
Okay. For 1 year.
So Lego show.
I like it. For 1 year. Then I figured out how much studying I had to do, and I changed my major. But yeah, Legos is a big one, and a lot of G.I. Joe, stuff like that. But you know, huge Star Wars fan. So right in my wheelhouse, late 70s, early 80s.
There we go.
It was real popular, so a lot of Star Wars.
Now, Empire Strikes Back, the original, Return of the Jedi, do you have
the original when I was young, Empire Strikes Back, as I've gotten older, understand the nuances of it, you know, learn to like Darth Vader's character, obviously, so, you know, pass that down to the kids, so she respects the Star Wars stuff, and yeah.
Well, she's got some Hollywood ties, so yeah, you get, you know, being LA folks.
I'm just glad that I was, you know, late 70s, early 80s. I'm glad I was around for that.
Coach, appreciate your time as always.
Thank
Chris Tifft, right here, Humboldt All-Axess. More Humboldt All-Axess. Pleasure to be joined by the wrestling coach, Lennie Zalesky. Coach, appreciate your time as always. And since the last time we caught up, the Jacks have been out on the road, hitting the mats. What are your thoughts on the season so far? No, most recently out of 10 teams, you guys finished 7th, but Stanford, Oklahoma, Cal Baptist, a lot of Division I firepower there, and teams that have had traditional powers that have been around for a while in the singlets.
Yeah, we had 4 placers in the top 6. We had our freshman place in the top 4. So I was happy actually with that because there's so many D1s and Oklahoma, Oklahoma, Stanford, the other Cal Poly won it. San Luis Obispo. So there's some tough teams there.
Right. So talk about the progress and how you judge in year 1, how the guys are doing and how they're coming along.
Yeah, I think we had improvements at a few weights. We had a 49-pounder who wrestled a tough kid from Oklahoma, lost on a stalling call. He went to tie his shoe, and you can't do that to stall, so he lost on that. I was told beforehand that this kid's really tough by someone who knows. So that was good, and our 157-pounder Gil Mossberg, another freshman, he ended up beating a kid from Cal Baptist who we recruited when I was there, and he was a fairly tough kid. Our 25-pounder placed as well. He placed 5th, and that he ended up beating a few good kids. So, and then the 41 and 33-pounders placed last time, and so they pretty much holding. We got a couple guys out too. We might be getting our heavyweight back here pretty soon, so that'll help.
Talk about how wrestling has evolved. Not a sport I followed a lot. I wrestled in junior high, and I was so good, that's where my career ended.
Yeah.
So that's all you need to know about my wrestling career. But, all sports, everything evolves. How has it evolved since you were a high school wrestler to, at a coach now starting a program back?
Yeah. I would say the biggest difference is there's more. I would say they've came to some different, like tilts on top is very popular, and they roll around a lot. They call it scramble wrestling.
Okay, a little more Greco-Roman style, or
no, more like jiu-jitsu, I would say.
Ooh.
So they dive for your ankles. If you have their leg ready to take them down, they dive for your ankles, and they'll get in a scramble, and a lot more like jiu-jitsu.
So besides being tough and strong, and I'm sure quick helps too, what are some of the attributes of good wrestlers?
Well, all of those. A good technique is probably a fundamental importance, but also the mental part as well. You could have all of those, but still, if you're not, I would say, aggressive at nature or really have confidence in what you have, you tend to not way underperform.
And how do you judge yourself getting better? I mean, what if you're going through a murderer's row and it's a Stanford kid, an Oklahoma kid, and you're just going and you feel like you're getting better, but you're still taking L's. How do you keep the confidence?
Yeah. Well, I think our wrestlers kind of know, for the most part, who they're wrestling. And I think like those 2 freshmen I mentioned that had, close match with the Oklahoma kid and a win over CBU, I think they know that those kids are pretty tough. And so last time they were like, they didn't do as well. So I think they're feeling it.
Well, I think obviously something you got to respect about wrestling and other things. You're out there by yourself. You can't, oh my God, missed a block, or fumbled the pass, or something like that. It's respect when you get out there, and there's the W and L, and it's on your record.
Yeah, no, that's true. We can always blame the ref, though.
Of course. Well, you got to tie your shoes. I don't want to break my ankle or my neck because I tripped over a shoe.
That's a crazy rule, but yeah.
All right, this weekend up to Southern Oregon, taking on a pair of really good NAIA squads. Tell us about this weekend's battles up there in Southern Oregon with Corbin and Sauk, as they used to be called back in my day, Southern Oregon University.
Yeah. Well, they're going to be tough matches. Southern Oregon just beat San Francisco State pretty bad, like 36-6, I think. But the weights we're just evolving so much that I just wait to kind of see how the guys are going to perform, and performance to me right now is probably bigger than win.
Right.
And so we'll see. We get our heavyweight back, that would help us, but we'll see. So anyway, I don't know what Southern Oregon's ranked, but I know Corbin is ranked 8th. I think Southern Oregon's above them. So anyway, it'll be good. We'll wrestle some tough guys. It's good to wrestle tough guys.
Right? Well, I doubt there's a lot of softies out there,
Yeah,
but nonetheless, if you're wrestling at this level, look, when they're as good as you, maybe there are softies out there, but for us mere mortals, they don't exist. Again, when are you guys, when's the home meet?
The home meet's January 10th.
All right, we're circling that one again.
Okay, yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Should be fun.
Coach, appreciate your time as always.
Right,
Good luck
you're
this
welcome.
weekend.
Okay, thank you.
Back with more Humboldt All-Axess. Humboldt All-Axess, pleasure to be joined by head coach of the Cal Poly Humboldt women. I still got to remember to say Cal Poly Humboldt women. How long did it take you, Coach Michelle Bento-Jackson, to get out the Humboldt State and get in? Because you're an old timer like me. You've been here for a while.
Right.
And I thought about the other day, I was like, I think I could go a broadcast or two without dropping an HSU or anything. How long did it take you?
I'm still not fully there. I still slip in Humboldt State from time to time.
I love it. All right, Coach, let's talk about last weekend, Chico State rivalry game. Clearly didn't go the way you wanted. With that said, what do you take from it and improve from? Because you got 2 more home games coming up real quick against San Francisco State and East Bay.
Right. Some things on the offensive end last week against Chico, I actually thought we made some progress in from previous games. What I did not necessarily love was our shot selection.
Okay.
I didn't think we forced Chico into really challenging them defensively. And so I was a little disappointed in that. And then my biggest disappointment is, as always, is we didn't make it tough on them. And we basically allowed 2 players to beat us. And so, obviously as a coach, I think back on things that I could have done differently to try to at least resolve some of those issues. And then again, we just have to really have a better understanding of the importance of details.
Here I'm going to talk about details, and I'm not sure the details. Remember Tom Wood used to say there were like 4 shots, right? A 4 was a good shot by a good player, and then you kind of work your way down. What is shot selection in Coach Michelle Bento-Jackson's world?
Well, it does depend on personnel,
Right.
to be honest with you. I mean, we have some players on our team that, you come down, you take a transition 3 early in the shot clock, and I'm good with that.
Right.
Because they've shown that they can knock down those shots. But what I was disappointed in the Chico game as we went over film was we're taking contested shots with 22 seconds left on the shot clock. And we're still trying to teach, how to end quarters, how to end halves. And we had 2 really poor shot selections in back-to-back with the foul and a not a defensive stop to end the first half. Those are daggers. So to answer your question, I always want us to be ultra aggressive. The girls know that they have a green light from me. I don't really like to put the handcuffs on anybody, but it's more so let's make the one more pass. Let's challenge them defensively more than what we are doing to work for the best shot that we can get.
So it's a little bit part of the growing too, and with a new team. Sounds like basketball IQ as well.
Definitely. You hear me say the word understanding a lot. And I think that's just the result of a new team, inexperience, whether they're 2-year transfers or not. I still look at them as inexperienced. And when it comes really to the intricacies of basketball, and that's my job to teach them and help them progress.
All right, let's talk about this weekend's 2 contests. You've got San Francisco State and East Bay. I mean, I want to say it's always a slugfest when you get together, but Coach, the teams you've had over the years, it's always slugfest, it seems like, against everyone. But with that said, a chance to 2 more home games before you're back out on the road for a while, and get at to 500 hopefully Thursday, and then above the Mendoza line on Saturday night.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously that's our goal, 1 game at a time. First was San Francisco State, but as you said, these 2 games at home, excuse me, and then we go right back to Chico, and then 1 more non-conference game. So we just want to take care of home these next 2 games. I think the girls have responded well from the Chico game in our film session on Monday. We've had 2 really solid practices back to back. I'm hoping to have the same type of practice today, and we just got to continue to work to get better. Now,
you've had a very tough start to the season as far as you like that really, hardy preseason, and then you get Chico, who's been one of the better teams in the league. But with that said, what did the girls learn about CC2A play compared to what they saw in the GNAC and the Pac West?
Right, a little bit different with Chico. I think I had mentioned to you last week, a lot of our non-conference games, whether it be the GNAC or even the Pac West, we saw a lot of the teams press, full court pressure, which we see a little bit in the CC2A, but we saw it quite a bit here in the non-conference. And as you said, Chico's just, they're just always a solid team. They execute very well. They get a lot. They play very fast. They get a lot out of their transition game, which I didn't think we did a great job in that area. But I think our girls are, it's me telling them about the CC2A, me telling them about the Alaska anchorages. They got to go through it. And, now we're, 6 games in, and I'm hoping they're learning these lessons now, because I can't be talking about these things a week from now or 2 weeks from now. Lessons have to be learned now.
What is it? There's a saying, the enemy know versus the devil you don't. Coach Fogel obviously has been at Chico, I think 17 years now. And then, you've got like East Bay, who's had some transition at coaching. What does that affect your preparation when, you're not exactly sure? I mean, look, Coach Fogel's going to do what Coach Fogel does, and you've got, coaches who are new to a program, and they're probably still tinkering with things themselves. How does that affect preparation?
Well, it's funny you say that, because tomorrow night actually with San Francisco State, I'm not sure if you're aware, but their head coach stepped down a few weeks back.
I did not know that.
And so they have an interim head coach right now who was on the staff as an assistant. And so, is she carrying over the previous coach's philosophies? And obviously, as we prepare, maybe some similarities there, but a brand new coach. And here we are tomorrow going to be facing that. So does it affect my preparation? Obviously, I watch film as I always would. Yes, I'm extremely familiar with Coach Fogel and what he's going to do, and he doesn't deviate much, and he believes in his style and his philosophy, and he sticks with it. Tomorrow night, we might see some things that we haven't seen in the past from San Francisco State.
2 more questions. Do you look at, well, I know you do, but with the team, do you look ahead to Saturday night's game, or is it all Thursday until Friday morning?
It's all Thursday.
Okay.
It's all Thursday. We have this
Saturdays are you and Coach Bloss problem?
Yeah, pretty much. Right now we're totally focused just on San Francisco. We won't even start talking about East Bay until Friday's practice.
All right, you ready for the hardball question I warned you about?
Okay.
All right, it's Toys for Tots.
Yeah.
If you bring a toy to the game on Saturday, you get free admission. Young Michelle Bento-Jackson, what was your toy? Do you remember a toy or a Christmas getting something and that was your go-to? For me, I was telling Coach Tifft, it was a Transformer Ultimus Prime. For him, it was G.I. Joe, or maybe something you remember fondly that Brandon, you just knew when you got him that hit the spot. Someone tells me it's probably basketball for Brandon, but nonetheless.
Yeah, for myself, a bike.
Yes.
A bike, waking up Christmas morning, and the bikes were never wrapped, so they were just out there by the Christmas tree, and that was always just brings a lot of joy. For Brandon, I will say it was a jersey of some NBA player.
Okay.
That's one of his favorites. But Christmas morning obviously is always a fun time, and I think it's really cool that we're doing the Toys for Tots, and hopefully we get a great participation from our fans.
Oh, I could just see Coach bombing around on her bike as a kid. You were probably hell on wheels. Coach, appreciate your time as always.
All right, thanks, JB.
Humboldt All-Axess.